Hello and welcome. We're glad that you're able to join us for our community prayer time. We are presently not gathering in our Dayspring Chapel until it is safe to do so. Yet we continue to pray together from different places. We have begun the liturgical season of Lent, 40 days in the Christian calendar that begins on Ash Wednesday and takes us into Holy Week and finally to Easter. Traditionally, Lent is a time of preparing our hearts for the resurrection through self-reflection, generosity, prayer, and simplicity. Here at Daybreak, we will focus our Lenten reflections on God's hidden work. This has been a challenging year for many of us, and like the dark days and the cover of snow, it is hard to imagine that something is happening beneath the earth that will spring forth new life in just a few weeks. It is our trust in this cyclical rhythm of the seasons and in the faithfulness of God that keeps us living in hope that there is growing happening even though we may not see it. This is God's hidden work. As usual, we traditionally begin our gatherings by remembering members of our community, our family and friends who are no longer with us, but continue to be present with us as our community of saints. Now, I invite you to take a moment to allow the bell to call us to prayer.
The sun comes up, the flowers bloom, the rain comes down, the flowers grow, people dancing everywhere.
The sun comes up again. The sun comes up, the flowers bloom, the rain comes down, the flowers grow, people dancing everywhere. The sun comes up again.
The sun comes up,
The sun comes up,
the flowers bloom,
the flowers bloom,
the rain comes down,
the rain comes down,
the flowers grow,
the flowers grow,
people dancing everywhere. The sun comes up again.
on this wonderful reading about God's goodness and the sun. And I think, let's see, I think I'll need Clara to help me a little bit with moving the slides forward to think a little bit about the sun. Thank you. So, as I have said, I love the sunshine. You can see right behind me, there is sunlight coming in my kitchen window. And this is, I sit and work at this spot when I'm at home because it is the sunniest spot in my apartment. And gosh, let's see. Thank you. Now I can see you all.
Liska,
Yes, Jason, tell me.
if you want me to read any of this, I will. I want to offer my reading skills.
Okay, Jason, would you please read this one slide? That's got some important information on it. Why don't you go ahead and read this one?
Right? Okay, I will.
Thank you.
Lights our days. It says the sun lights our days, keeps us warm, makes rain and snow, helps our bodies work, makes plants grow.
Amazing. Thank you, Jason. That's
Yeah.
a lot of important information. So thank you for that. So maybe I'll just say a little bit more about what's on this one. Okay, Jason?
Okay.
Yeah, so just we'll say real quick, the sun, obviously, when there's bright light, it helps us see where we're going. If you think about it at night, if we try to go outside and do things, we need the street lights, we need some other kind of light. So at nighttime, we can't really see what's around us because it's dark. In the daytime, we can see what's around us. Think about it. When the sun's not out, we can feel that the air feels colder outside. And in the winter time, when we have much less sun, the air gets really cold. So we know that the sun helps to keep us warm. And we know that the sun helps the rain and the snow happen by picking up the water from the earth through evaporation, and then it comes down again from the sky. And the sun helps our bodies work. We know that vitamin D comes from the sun, and that's one that we actually take in through our skin, and it helps our body to function, right? And then this last one is really important. How does the sun help plants to grow? So this is the one I want to think a little bit about today. So let's see. Now, here is a wonderful little diagram, a little graphic that shows us the sun and plants. And there's a big word called photosynthesis that's at the top of this little diagram. But what that's talking about, it's talking about the transformation process that happens inside a plant. So here's what it shows us. It shows us that you have the sunshine, and the sunshine comes down and a plant absorbs and it takes in the sunshine. A plant also draws in what's called carbon dioxide out of the air. And then what the plant does with that is it has water and nutrients that come in through its roots. And the plant has a process of transformation and growth. And in that transformation and growth, the plant generates energy so the plant can grow bigger. And when it does that, it gives off oxygen, and we get to breathe the oxygen. So it's this whole cycle of transformation. And again, it's not something that we see. I mean, we can see that a plant is growing bigger, but all of that work that the plant is doing is not something that we see. It's happening in this wonderful and mysterious and hidden way, right? So that whole process of change, what it gives us plants growing bigger, and it gives us the air that is necessary for people to live, which is kind of amazing. So what's next? The transformation, this whole process that happens inside a plant, gives life to all of us. So it's absolutely necessary for life, and it's absolutely vital. So here is a picture of our friend Rosie Decker. And Rosie, when I think of the sunshine, I think of Rosie, because Rosie absolutely loved the sun. And she had a way of moving around, and she would find the sunniest spot in any place. So Rosie, here's a picture of Rosie. We were at, I think this is at Wasaga Beach. And you see she has taken, we had a swim vest for her, and she's taken it and kind of put it on sort of sideways over her head, sitting on the beach there. But look at that grin on her face, and look at that sunlight coming down. Now, what was interesting, let's see the next slide, please. What was interesting is Rosie, because she had her blonde hair and her skin was very fair. So it was kind of fun, because if you were hanging out with Rosie and you were outside, you knew that she was going to try to find the sunniest spot, but you also had to make sure that she had sunscreen on, and you had to chase after her. And Tanya and Clara, you'll remember we came up with all kinds of elaborate things. At one point, we got these umbrellas. I think they were from IKEA, but we got these umbrellas that you could clip onto the handle of a wheelchair so that we could try to create shade. But whatever we did to try to create shade, Rosie would try to sneak around it. So sunscreen was important. And you see here, I think when I realized how hot the sun was, I took off my bandana and I went to put it on Rosie's head just to protect her. But there was always this wonderful sort of dynamic race going on to keep the sunscreen and to cover her head and to protect her from the sun. But she loved the sunshine. And even inside, right? Like even if we weren't outside at the beach, Rosie would find a way to get the sunniest spot. And here there's a picture of us. You can see all that sunlight on the wall right above Rosie and on her beanbag chair. And that was the kind of thing she did. You would find her wherever the sunshine was. So Rosie had a very powerful story of her life. She was a mighty, mighty woman, and she lived great transformation in her life. When she was very little, she lived in an institution, which meant that she spent a lot of time alone, and she didn't have a lot of people around her to love her and nurture her. When she came to Daybreak, she was very, very small. She was very petite in her size, and she didn't really like being around people. But over time, what we know about relationships, and this took many years of growth, but people gradually began to get to know Rosie, and Rosie began to get to know them. And gradually over time, beautiful growth and transformation happened. And Rosie grew bigger physically, and she grew stronger, and she learned how to do all kinds of amazing things. She learned how to walk when she was in her 20s. And at the new house and at the day program, she just discovered all of these amazing things that she loved to do. She loved to ride her bike, and she loved to go swimming and trampolining and all kinds of horseback riding, all kinds of amazing things. And Rosie just grew and grew. In this whole process of transformation that happened inside Rosie gave so much life and energy to people around her. So the next slide, please. Yeah, Rosie's transformation, that whole process that happened inside her of growing, she shared that growth and it made other people grow too. So Rosie shows us that people can be like plants. And when we experience growth inside of us and transformation inside of us, it can give life to people around us. Maybe I can pause. Let's go back one slide. One slide, please. Rosie shows us that the transformation inside us can give life to other people around us. I want to pause there because I think I was one person who knew Rosie, but I think we've got a few other people on our call today that might be able to say a word, to say something about how did you experience, how did Rosie's transformation give you life? And can I ask Clara, you are a very precious friend of Rosie's. Can I ask you to unmute and to maybe say a word? How did Rosie give you life? Can you unmute? Are you able to?
Yeah, Rosie was the person who welcomed me to the new house when I first came to Daybreak. And I was really I guess I was somebody who was really concerned about what people thought of me, and really struggled when I felt like I wasn't sure if someone liked me or not. It was really hard for me to really be at home in myself because I was so focused on what other people thought. And I was really struck by the way that Rosie was just who she was, and she didn't apologize for who she was. And she was bold, and she knew how to ask for what she needed, and I was just inspired by her courage and her sense of being self-possessed, and just when she came into a room, she was just who she was, and somehow that courage kind of rubbed off on me, I think, and really gave me the courage to really own who I was and not apologize for who I was. So that was deeply transforming for me. Thank you for asking.
Thank you, Clara. That's a beautiful example of all of that growth and that strength that Rosie learned inside herself. She gave it to others, and she gave us life when she did that. I'm wondering, Tanya, I wonder, would you be willing to unmute and to say something about how did Rosie give you life?
Sure. I found a sunny spot. I was looking forward to your reflection. Well, I have so many stories of Rose. I think, yeah, she really helped. It was funny, like when I first met Rose and I was at the day program, we would do those horse riding and we would go trampolining and we would do all these things. And I thought, okay, I've got to, we're here with this. She rode this giant horse, this old racehorse, retired racehorse. And I remember she was on this white racehorse named Sunshine once. And we were in this barn and it was windy and a little wild. And like, okay, I love horses, but it was that weather where horses could be a little skittish. And I remember this horse, basically, she was up there and she didn't want anybody touching her or holding her. She just kind of leaned way back and she spun around her spaghetti stick. And she looked kind of like someone from the Wild West. And I remember this horse bucked her off into the air, and Rose was so tiny. And she flew in the air, and I thought, oh, we're doomed. And she just she just kind of went down, and she just giggled and laughed, and she loved adventure, and she wasn't hurt. She helped people relax by being herself. I saw someone jumped on a trampoline once, and they didn't realize how light she was. So she kind of triple flipped up in the air, and she just did these things, and I don't know, she was so authentic. She loved adventure. She loved Steve Mosier. I remember him throwing her up in the pool, and her just delighting in anything that she just helped people really, I think, just take a breath and realize like the joy in the moment. Yeah. So I had a lot of beautiful active memories with Rosie, and particularly when she got quite unwell before she had to go to the hospital, the year that she passed. And I remember someone had called me to go and spend lots of time with her. So we got to do so many things. So it was a treasure, but I got to see her, regain her strength and a little bit of her weight, and spend precious time with people, and ride her bike again, and visit horses again, and swim again. Like, she did so many things. And I think it was just precious time that she allowed for so many people to spend with her. And just, she had a way, even till the last days of her life, she had a way of really gifting people with her presence, or her like stare, or her mischievous grin, or stealing your lunch. I don't know. She did all these things that really made you feel like privileged or honored. So yeah, I'm just really grateful. Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much, Tanya. She was a mighty, mighty woman who gave us so much life. Rona, can I put you on the spot and ask you to unmute? Because I know Rosie really pulled you into Daybreak as well. I know, along with John, Rosie really brought you into L'Arche.
Yes, Rosie was a really special lady, and I'm just going to probably say the same things, but she was really authentic. She was an authentic woman who really taught me also that, be yourself. You don't need to jump through hoops. And at that point in my life, I felt too, I was very conscious of what people thought of me, and trying to be things that I was not. And I think Rosie just said to me, you know what, it's okay, just be who you are. And that's okay. So that was a real gift for me. And also her joy. Rosie had this, and I know she knew pain, but she also had this lovely gift of joy when she would, go into hysterics sometimes. And I remember one time when she pulled off her top in the house, and she started to swing around her top, and all the male assistants are covering their eyes. And I just looked at her and I went, Rosie, and she just had this grin on her face, like she knew what she was doing. And she just burst into laughter. So she just had this great joy about her, and mischievous and fun side of her. So yeah, she was a real gift.
Thank you, Rona. You're right. She had just this energy and just this way of drawing people into this energy. And absolutely. So I want to just take a moment now, and maybe we can do that with just a little bit of reflection.
Clara,
Daryl Dixon.
I know honest, my good friend. She is my honest anyway to días. Mucho living días.
So you and Arliss went way back.
I with honest anyway to art run.
You did the ARC run together with Arliss. That's right. And she was at Bright Ideas with you, right?
The me where you Bright Ideas.
Bright Ideas. The workshop.
I love that. I came here Bright Ideas with my friend Arliss. I know Arliss a long time ago.
Thank you, Daryl. Thank you. So I wonder if we can just think for a moment. We can just think for a moment. If you can think of just this wonderful gift that we
Excuse
have,
me.
that when we have
Excuse-
change inside of us, we can give energy and give life to other people. So I want to ask us to be quiet for maybe just 1 minute and think about this question. Can you think of somebody else who gives you life, who inspires you, who gives you energy when you see something beautiful that has happened inside them? Okay, think of somebody else when you watch them and you see the beautiful things happening in their life,
Excuse me.
it gives you life and strength. So let's be quiet for 1 minute, and then I'll ask you, Stephen, to start us in 1 minute.
In the morning, when the dew lies on the ground and your glory's all around, in the morning, when the sun is on the rise and your splendor fills the skies, I look to you in the morning to be my strength for this day. I look to you in the morning to be my strength for this day. In the evening, when the day is almost done and we watch the setting sun, in the evening, as we put our work to rest, noting all that you have blessed, I look to you in the evening and give you thanks for this day. I look to you in the evening and give you thanks for this day. this day. I look to